Imagine this. You're rushing to the hospital, your heart pounding in your chest, your mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. Your daughter is there, and you don't know what's wrong. But when you arrive, the police stop you. They don't let you in. Instead, they say, "Take a look discreetly." What would you do? What would you think? This is not just a story. It's a moment that changed my life forever. And today, I'm going to share it with you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today's story is one of those. It's raw, it's emotional, and it's something I never thought I'd experience. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into this unforgettable journey. And hey, if you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Your support means the world to me. I've noticed only 98% of you who watch haven't subscribed. Come on, guys, show some love and support. Thanks a bunch to those who have already subscribed. It all started on a quiet Tuesday morning. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and life felt normal. My daughter, Emily, had gone to school like any other day. She was 12 years old, bright, curious, and full of life. But around noon, I got a call that shattered my world. It was the school. Emily had collapsed during gym class, and they were rushing her to the hospital. My heart stopped. I didn't know what to do. I just grabbed my keys, ran to the car, and drove like a madman to the hospital. When I got there, the scene was chaotic. Ambulances were parked outside, doctors and nurses were rushing in and out, and there was a strange tension in the air. I ran to the front desk, desperate for answers. But before I could say a word, a police officer approached me. He looked serious, almost grim. "Are you Emily's parent?" he asked. I nodded, my throat too dry to speak. He hesitated for a moment, then said, "Come with me. But take a look discreetly. The mystery deepens." Those words sent a chill down my spine. What did he mean? Why couldn't I just go to my daughter? My mind was spinning with possibilities, none of them good. The officer led me down a series of hallways, each one quieter than the last. Finally, we stopped outside a room with a one-way mirror. "Look," he said, his voice low, "but don't let her see you." I stepped closer, my heart pounding in my chest. And there she was, Emily. She was lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to machines, her face pale and still. But that wasn't what shocked me. Standing next to her was a man I didn't recognize. He was tall, dressed in a dark coat, and he was holding her hand. Who was he? What was he doing there? And why did the police want me to watch this? The twist. Before I could process what was happening, the officer pulled me aside. "We need to talk," he said. He led me to a small private room and closed the door. What he told me next left me speechless. The man in the room wasn't a stranger. He was Emily's biological father, a man I hadn't seen or heard from in over a decade. He had disappeared when Emily was just a baby, leaving us with nothing but questions and heartache. And now, out of nowhere, he was here. But that wasn't the only shock. The officer explained that Emily's collapse wasn't an accident. She had been poisoned, and the prime suspect, her biological father. According to the police, he had been trying to reconnect with her for months, sending letters and gifts to the school. But Emily had never mentioned any of this to me. Why? Did she know who he was? Or was she just as confused as I was? The emotional roller coaster. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My mind was a whirlwind of emotions: anger, fear, confusion, and a deep, aching sadness. How could this be happening? How could someone I once loved, someone who had helped bring Emily into this world, do something so monstrous? And why now? What did he want? The officer gave me a moment to collect myself, then asked if I was ready to confront him. I nodded, though I wasn't sure I was ready for anything. We walked back to the room, and this time I went inside. The man looked up as I entered, and for a moment we just stared at each other. There was so much I wanted to say, so much I wanted to scream at him, but all I could manage was, why? The confrontation. What followed was a conversation I'll never forget. He claimed he hadn't poisoned Emily. He said he loved her, that he had made mistakes in the past but wanted to be a part of her life. He even showed me the letters he had sent, letters filled with apologies and promises. but I didn't know what to believe. How could I trust him after everything he had done? And yet part of me wanted to, for Emily's sake. As we talked, the police were investigating. They searched his car, his home, everything. And what they found was nothing. No evidence of poison, no motive, no proof that he had done anything wrong. It was as if the entire case had fallen apart. But that didn't explain why Emily was in the hospital. What had happened to her? The revelation. The answer came later that night from an unexpected source, Emily herself. She woke up, weak but alert, and asked to see me. When I walked into her room, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I'm sorry, Mom." I didn't understand. What did she have to be sorry for? And then she told me the truth. Emily had been struggling with anxiety for months. She had been hiding it from me, afraid I would worry. The letters from her biological father had only made things worse. She didn't know how to feel about him, and the pressure had become too much. That day at school, she had taken something. A pill she found in the medicine cabinet at home. She thought it would help her calm down, but it was too strong, and it made her sick. It wasn't poison, it was an accident. The aftermath. I was devastated. How had I not seen what she was going through? How had I missed the signs? I felt like I had failed her, but at the same time I was relieved. She was going to be okay. And now that the truth was out, we could get her the help she needed. As for her biological father, the police let him go. There was no evidence against him, and Emily didn't want to press charges. He left the hospital that night, and I haven't seen him since. Part of me hopes I never will. But another part of me wonders if, someday, Emily might want to know him. And if that day comes, I'll support her, because that's what mothers do. The message. This experience taught me something important. We never really know what someone is going through, not even the people we love the most. It's easy to assume everything is okay, to get caught up in the busyness of life and miss the signs that something is wrong. But we have to pay attention. We have to listen. And most importantly, we have to be there for each other. So that's my story. It's not an easy one to tell, but I hope it reminds you to cherish the people in your life and to never take a single moment for granted. If you've been through something similar, or if this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So that's my story. It's not an easy one to tell, but I hope it reminds you to cherish the people in your life and to never take a single moment for granted. If you've been through something similar, or if this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've noticed only 98% of you who watch haven't subscribed. Come on, guys, show some love and support. Thanks a bunch to those who have already subscribed.